Good evening, and we will call the meeting of the Board of Trustees to order at 7:03 p.m. on November 14th. And we're waiting for one member to join us, but we do have a quorum. So are there any other recording devices other than the recording for Westwood Media webinar? No, so we may begin. First on our agenda is approval of the minutes from October 17th. And if everyone has had a chance to look those over, I would ask if there are any questions or comments.
Oh, here's Mary.
There we go.
Okay.
Okay.
Unmute. Turn on video.
There
Hello.
we go. Hi, Mary.
Hi there. Sincere apologies. I seem to
No
be having
problem.
some technology difficulties on my main laptop I used to join with. I'll try to get that going in the background, but Charlotte, thank you for taking notes while I get that sorted.
Okay. All right. So we are I just had asked if anyone had any questions or comments about the minutes for October 17th, and I didn't have any responses. So that being
I
said,
move to approve minutes as submitted.
I second.
Thank you, Trustee Ryan. Thank you, Trustee Fitzgerald. And we'll take a vote. And Trustee Donahue, how do you vote? Trustee Fitzgerald?
Aye.
Trustee Macy Phelps?
I abstain as I wasn't present for that meeting.
Oh, okay. Thank you. And Trustee Ryan?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. And Trustee Persons is not here, so that would be an abstain as well. Okay. The director's report is next, and we have a number of items there. So,
Can I just
Charlotte?
ask, Mary, have you started taking minutes?
Yeah, I'm starting right now.
Okay, who was the seconder on that?
Yeah.
Trustee Ryan.
Trustee Ryan.
Okay, and now I will turn that over. I'll send you anything.
Thank you, Charlotte.
Okay. Charlotte, I know that you had a couple of things that you wanted to point out from your report, which is, accepted as submitted unless there's otherwise requested. But if you'd like to give us some highlights or discuss any things that you have like to bring to our attention and to the attention of the public.
Right. We, have a newly paved lot that happened in October. And we had 4 days, we had 3 days that were closed and one afternoon, which was a bit unusual for the library, but we're back on track to be open. I don't have a report from Matthew Rudolsky yet, who is the archivist that we have hired. Abby is meeting with him and we'll have something for next month. He should be done in January. So next month's meeting, which will be the second Monday in December, would be a good halfway point.
Okay.
I think that's all the updates that I have, because Maria and Nancy will be reporting on the poet laureate. I don't know if anybody's reporting on the Friends, so.
Yes.
But the Friends had a successful book sale?
Yes. Okay, so that's really the facilities projects in terms of, you mentioned that the chiller had been, shut down for the winter and that the heat is on.
Yes.
Okay, and let me see. Does anyone else have any comments or questions about Charlotte's report this month?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I just wanted to get a sense on how things are going with the short Wednesdays.
I think that's great. But to add to that, it's apparently not just short Wednesdays that we have quite a population in. From the
Okay.
middle school, it tends to, and Charlotte, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it tends to be every day. But if you'd like to update us in that regard, and I will say
It's
that,
a little more populated on the short Wednesdays because it's more hours that we are, constantly walking around trying to make sure that everybody is behaving appropriately. And it's not the library of the past, it's not a quiet, shushing library. It's pretty active, especially the room next to mine with all of the kids. But every day is very busy here until about 5:30. And, there are people that we have students of every single age, high schoolers through youngsters. Most of them are middle schoolers. And on those short Wednesdays, it is a little bit, it's noisier and more active. But it's been a very, we've been monitoring everybody and trying to make sure that the behavior is appropriate. I know there are reports out. I don't know if you've read any of them, some important national reports about what COVID has done to young children as far as both socializing and academics. So it's been really interesting dealing with the kids. I'm sure that they're seeing it in the schools as well. And so we're trying to be as kind and as proactive as we can be and not enforcing the old rules, of even 20 years ago with the kids, because it's if you build it, they will come, and they do come to this library. So
We certainly want that. We just want to make sure that it doesn't impact the experience and
right.
of all our patrons.
Right. We're just trying to maintain. Right.
And has it been going okay then? It sounds like,
It's been going okay with the actions of the staff. We're busy monitoring it. So.
and you noted in your report that the staff has been helped with the expertise of Danielle Sutton, and we thank her for working with you and
Right.
the staff in responding to these challenges of the 21st
We really
century.
we appreciate her expertise that she has with youth. It's been really helpful. So we've reached out, and I've been meeting with Danielle. She's called meetings with both. We meet with her to talk about the rooms. Claire and I meet with her once a month with the rest of the departments, Recreation and Council on Aging and the Youth and Family Services, to make sure that we're using the rooms appropriately down at Wentworth Hall. And we also are going to be meeting with all of those department heads just to talk about issues and whatnot. So she's been a wonderful resource. And I commend the town on that, on creating that position for her. And she's really great. And it's been very helpful to me because of the fact that, I'm new and interim.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate that and thank her for us. And thank you for, your expertise in working with her. So we create a good environment for all the patrons.
Right.
Any other questions about the director's report? Any other comments?
No.
Okay. So was there anything more you wanted to mention about Islington, Charlotte? Moving down the agenda.
Claire's doing a fabulous job there. I don't know if you've been in to see, but she has an old library catalog that she's turned into a plant, a big planter with different plants. And it's always, whenever I go in there, it's just neat and, and wonderful. And she has great great programming and book clubs and everything. And I think it's probably really appreciated by the Islington residents.
Community, yes,
Your,
agree.
your sense that the expanded hours are a plus of being you, I mean, are people able to use expanded hours and
You mean the expanded hours at the branch, or the fact that there are branch hours?
well, we extended the hours and days at branch.
Yeah.
And it's,
I haven't talked to Claire about that, although I'll be sure to talk to her about that. I'm finishing up the narrative for the budget. And there's been incredible changes since last year's narrative, because the branch is opened and we're totally past COVID. Well, we're not past COVID, but you know, we're open for the full hours, and all programming is up to speed and everything. So the narrative will be a lot different than it was last year. And I will talk to her tomorrow before I finish and find out.
May I make a suggestion? Oh, may I make a suggestion? Yeah, person. In the past, when we would have our meetings in person in December, we would go to the Islington branch and have our meeting there. That's our past practice. May I suggest that we invite Claire to come to the December meeting? And because I'd like, you know, it's been now several months since the branch opened and the expanded hours, and in lieu of being there, I think it might be useful to us to just get a sort of state of the union from Claire.
I
How
think
things
that's great.
are going.
Very good. I'm sorry.
That's
Trustee
okay.
Macy Phelps.
Yeah, Maureen. And Charlotte, Paul is spot on. And if I could add something that you might take a look at as part of preparation for that. I know it's good to see the statistics, the monthly statistics evolving as the branches come back online, but we're always looking at compared to last year. And because the branch was closed, there ain't, you know, all you see is this sudden, you know, huge impact. I wonder if it's possible to take a look at the branch, you know, the programming, you know, how many people are participating in programs, circulation, and so on, and compare it to before we shut the branch down as a potential way of gauging, you know, what's the impact of the new location, of the expanded hours. So you know, suggest something you might ask, you know, just do that comparison farther back in time. Don't change what you're doing month to month, but just maybe for when Claire comes in, if we could get a measure of that.
Yeah.
So just talking out loud, thinking out loud. So we'd want to maybe look at not last November, but the November before.
Exactly.
So November 20.
Yeah, 2021 or even
Yeah,
you know,
not
I
going
don't
to
know
work
then there
because
was,
of
there was the
COVID.
pandemic. So I, you know, maybe just
So
look back. I mean, we've got
maybe
years and years of these
2019
statistics.
even. Yeah.
2019.
I'll go back
just
to
for-
2019, and maybe she could do a school year, you know, September to June. 28.
Trustee Fitzgerald.
Yeah, because it was one of the most important things in the time that I've been on the board. And when I joined, it was when the Islington project was still in its infancy, was our real desire to make the branch the best possible asset, not only to the whole town, but in particular to the Islington community. So I would be interested to see how things are going, how it's working, what we can do to enhance that experience. So,
right.
like I said,
I'll talk with Claire, and I'll have her
go there in December.
Right.
I'll have her have a handout for you and I'll invite her to the meeting.
Yeah. Great.
That sounds great. Thank you very much. Okay.
Hopefully I can check and make sure she's around too for that, you know, the date. I can look at that tonight on the calendar.
It is Monday, December 12th.
Right.
Okay. All right. The next up is the poet laureate. I'm sorry, Trustee Ryan.
I just wanted to ask, am I to understand that we're meeting at the Islington branch in person in December, or just on?
Ordinarily, it was our past practice
Yes, yeah,
to have our December meeting at the Islington branch. And
yes, I understood that.
so we're still going to be meeting remotely, but
Okay.
I suggest in lieu of that, we
Mhm.
have Claire come and get a real full report on what's going on at the Islington branch.
And we don't
Sure.
know yet if they're going to extend remote meetings. I think they're looking at hybrid meetings for the future, but it's March 31st is the date as currently. And I'll let
Yeah.
you know if that changes this month.
Okay. Okay. Moving on, the Poet Laureate update. Trustee Ryan and Trustee Donahue.
Okay,
Yes.
Nancy, do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
Well, I was just going to say there was a very nice article published in the paper, and thank you, Maria, for doing that. And someone had suggested, the paper was the Globe. Someone suggested that we try to have the article reprinted or re-included in the newspaper weekly, and I think that's a very good idea.
Yes, that was Karen Michelson suggested that.
Yeah.
And that was thanks to Charlotte, who forwarded me the Globe, Johanna Seltz with her name. So I spoke to her and she kind of did an interview. I tried to give her the names of everybody. She just wanted some information, and then it was in the paper on Sunday. So that's one
I
thing.
saw it. It was very good.
Yes, thank you. It was in the Westwood Minute a couple weeks ago. I don't know if you saw, any of you saw that, but I
Yes.
think she did a nice job talking about the Poet Laureate Committee and this to apply the application process. And it was in that by Darlene Cancel. So I think that was 2 weeks ago. Kieran Moriarty from the high school and I are going to have a conversation on Wednesday because I think Westwood Media Center wanted to interview. And so he talked to me. We've been emailing, and I said that I was very comfortable with him doing it. I would be very supportive of him. I could go with him if he'd like. I told him I'd make him cookies, and but I'm perfectly satisfied that he is the one to do the speaking. And hopefully we're going to have some applications because we've been getting it out. And people took different, Karen Michelson was going to speak to the Friends. Oh, by the way, the Friends, I talked to Tina. Tina said, number one, that their fundraising, the annual fundraising event is going on. And number two, they had a very good book sale. They were busy from 10 to 4 the whole time. So that was her little report to us. Nancy, do you remember who else was reaching out to Poet Laureate people on the committee? I know Christy said that she was going to put it on something or other, like a Facebook or something. I haven't seen anything, but I don't go on it very much.
That's something we could certainly do.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to get it into the local papers
Yes.
as well, and
Yes.
to do it on a weekly basis, because it's not something that it just comes into your head and then,
Right.
you remember to do it. So
Repetition.
absolutely.
And repetition.
Yep.
Great.
And it is on
Trustee
the town.
Fitzgerald. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I would just add, like, if we do the interview with the Westwood Media, to remember that the 21st Century
Mhm.
Fund is providing the funding for this.
But didn't you see in every single thing? I put that in.
Yeah.
No,
Put
but I
it
mean,
in.
but when we do the
Oh,
interview,
right, sure.
yeah,
We've
I think
discussed that
Yeah.
several times.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Wouldn't
Yeah.
it wouldn't happen without that funding.
Oh, absolutely. And it's in it.
Oh, I
it was in
appreciate that. I
Globe, it was in
appreciate that, and I've
everything.
seen that, and I
I
appreciate
made
that.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
just-
knew that was important, and I did make sure that was in.
Yeah.
And
Thank-
the local paper, maybe Nancy and you and I will come up with something and ask them to put it
Sure.
in,
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that is important. Also, the Cultural Council is going to give $100 a year,
Oh,
more for not so much in addition to the stipend, but it was more, Nancy, wouldn't you say more for, say if the person has to run off papers or driving
Oh, sure.
or incidental things
Expensive.
like that.
operating
So the
costs.
cultural council is going to do that.
That's
Yes.
good.
Yeah.
And I think it would be nice for us, when we write an article, to maybe include a picture of Lynn Vitti, because she's instrumental in driving all of this.
Sure. I have mentioned her name, but I haven't
Yeah.
said, because she may be applying. And so I didn't want to make it look skewed, for her, even though I think she's wonderful.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
we could say originally, because you, Lynn and Chris Coleman were the original people, and Lizzie were the ones in the spring, wasn't it, Nancy? All,
Well, actually, Lynn Vitti brought all of this before the Cultural Council. And the
Yes.
Cultural Council supported Lynn in
Mhm.
trying to implement a poet laureate position in Westwood. And, we did some research on it, what towns have poet laureates,
Mhm.
how does it work in these towns? Is there a stipend? Those kinds of basic questions.
Mhm.
But, Lynn's been at,
Oh, she's
she's
been
been the
wonderful.
driving force.
And the speakers she's brought in that I've heard are terrific, because I've gone to a couple of the events. So,
Yeah.
That's
and
good.
does anybody have any questions or?
No, it sounds like you're, moving along with the timeline that you told us about last month, and
Mhm.
it's good progress, and hopefully you'll get some good attention from these articles and so forth. So
Sure.
that's great. Thank you.
Mhm.
And it
Welcome.
seems like you've updated us in the process about the Friends. And glad that they had their back on track with the book sale, and that they had a good result. We don't know yet when they're going to start taking books again, I don't think, do we?
No. Mhm.
No, so, but my understanding is, I was at the library and talking to Charlotte, and they've made a move to completely clear out the room at this point and start fresh. So that's a good thing too.
Yeah.
So thanks for those updates. And next we have approval of acceptances and expenditures. So does anyone have a question on that? I just wondered, Charlotte, I guess I have a question where it says at the top for accept, the trustees will vote to accept the larger amount, and it says Friends of Westwood Library. Is that because we had combined September and October? Is that what I was thinking?
No,
is-
are you talking about the 3,700?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What happened there is they had a new treasurer, and she was
Okay.
having a really hard time getting to the library for many
Okay.
reasons. And
Okay.
Terry was waiting, and we suggested that she write one large check so that Terry
Okay.
could submit and take, and it's in the gift fund.
Yes.
And we will be taking for that for all of the incidentals, because it was a little cumbersome for her to keep coming in and running in with small checks.
Okay. All right. Thank you for explaining. Any other questions?
I
Trustee
actually
Ryan?
do. I have a question. How is it, and probably because I'm just new at this, but why do we vote on accepting the Friends money where it's their donations for the patrons of the library? How is it that we?
As the trustees, we're responsible for approving and
I see. Okay.
recommending to the selectmen the expenditures and the funds
Yeah.
that the public library receives. That's why we have to vote on it. And
And-
after the chairperson signs it, it's forwarded to the Board of
Yeah.
Selectmen.
Yeah, and it usually, usually when it's coming from the Friends, it's more of a formality, but part of the idea, as I understand it, Paul, and with your background in law, I'm sure you could elaborate, is just to have that vetting process in the unlikely event that the library were to receive a gift that would be problematic for some reason.
I assumed it was along those lines.
Terrorist
but I wasn't sure.
organization or so just something that would be inappropriate to accept. It kind of puts a little check and balance in there. If I got Got that about right, Paul?
Yes, and also the selectmen would not be able to
Right.
adopt, accept it.
Yep.
If the library trustees hadn't.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thank you. Okay, that being said, do we have a motion?
Move to accept the expenditures and acceptances as detailed in the report submitted.
Thank you,
I
trustee
second.
Fitzgerald. Seconded by trustee Donahue. And we'll take a vote. Trustee Donahue,
Aye.
trustee Ryan,
Aye.
trustee Macy Phelps,
Aye.
trustee Fitzgerald,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Okay, that's great. And the budget, do you have some information to share with us, Charlotte, regarding the budget?
It will be the budget for 24, FY 24. It's due on Friday. Everything is pretty much, well, the budget is complete. It's just the narrative that I'm still working on to make sure that it fits within and that I get the most important things in there. And then it will go directly to the town. We are increasing the data processing line because the Minuteman assessment has increased this year to about $62,000. Mainly partly because they voted to spend more money on electronic materials. So the overdrive went up to 130,000. I mean, 1,300,000, which was an increase, I believe, of $400,000 this year. And that is because in COVID, what happened, what we hoped would happen was that people would start really using our electronic materials, especially overdrive, and they did. And people are really happy with that, and they're demanding it now. So we have had to increase it. So I've worked that into the budget. There have been some budget. Terry told me that the office supplies were going up and a few other things. And so I will give that to you in December to let you see. And we also had added hours, as you all are aware of, and the rest of the town is aware of, that we added some hours to make somebody full-time.
And we also increased the hours at Islington.
Right.
Yes. Okay.
So
right.
I will give you that. And I don't believe anybody will really look at it much before until Lizzie gets back. So then she can update you all on that.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you, Charlotte. So one thing we didn't address in another area was the calendar of schedule of holidays. But this is probably a good juncture to take a look at that and give it our approval. As such, does anyone have questions after having looked at the draft? Trustee Macy Phelps.
Yeah, a couple questions. I noticed next week, Veterans Day is on a Saturday, and it appears we're closing 2 days for Veterans Day. I'd always thought that was something that was always just observed on the 11th. So maybe, can you explain what that's, kind of the rationale there? And my second question is, has the HR department / personnel board approved these?
I've talked to Molly, and when you have spoken about it tonight at the meeting and approved it, she just wants a copy of it. And
so she has seen this.
I have sent this to her, this draft to her already, and I sent her last year so she could compare.
Okay.
I don't know, Lizzie gave me these documents to present to you in November, so I am really not sure about that Friday, Saturday. I am assuming that there's so much that's closed on, I'm not really sure why that would be. I think that's something,
You may want to, you may want to just.
yeah.
And
But that was Okay, this is for, we're talking for next November, Mary.
Correct.
Right.
For November 10th, a Friday, and November
Right.
11th on Saturday.
Yeah, I just,
So-
yeah, and I did, I don't know what we've done in a similar situation, and I
Mhm.
know I don't want to run afoul of the town by
Right.
approving something, without it having been vetted by someone in the town.
Can you
Right.
just, yeah, to
It
follow up
does have the asterisk next to it, and in the prior year, it's not printed on this draft, but it says subject to approval by the Westwood Personnel Board. So
Yeah.
perhaps on this 22-23 document, it should have that on it as well, that we should add that.
May I make a suggestion?
It
Mhm.
is on both of mine. Yep.
Would you just, I assume that it's that, we just want to make sure to Trustee Macy Phelps' point, we've encountered this before. Just
Yes.
confirm with the personnel, with Joan Murray and HR and Molly, that the
Joan Murray.
town will also be having the same days off, because we don't want to have days off that the rest of the town doesn't have. We've encountered that before.
Hmm.
I will do that. I honestly just Lizzie
I
left
understand.
these for me.
Right.
Right. So, but I have to say, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me how this is working out for next year. What I will do, I had sent these to Molly already, so she has those. And I will chat with her, and she will be able to tell us if these are also town holidays.
Yeah.
And how it works for.
I want to make
for
sure
the-
that we're observing the
Right.
same days as the
Yeah.
rest of the town. So could I then make a second suggestion, Madam Chairperson? That
Yes.
we hold off on approving this tonight,
Mhm.
Mhm.
make sure that we
Okay.
that it's consistent with the rest of the town, because we've had that happen before, and it.
Yeah.
I think the difference when we had it happen before with, I believe, with Juneteenth,
Right.
and last year there was short notice from the state before that. And so
Right.
the town hadn't dealt with it in terms of their personnel
It's absolutely
issue. I think that thing with the Veterans Day, one of the differences is that other town departments are not open,
Right, yeah.
on Saturday.
Right.
So, that they would get a day off on a weekday,
Right,
observe it on a weekday because it's a Saturday holiday
right.
for them. So I guess that's the only area that we would have the question, that we need
Yeah.
to define that. And I heard you say, Charlotte, that asterisk and subject to approval by Westwood Personnel Board is on your copy that you sent to Molly.
Yes.
It's not on the one I printed.
Okay.
But if it's on yours and it went to her, then that's
Okay.
a good reference for conversation, that we do have it there. And
Okay.
that's the only thing that is,
I had to read.
because we basically have it again on Sunday, January 1st on
Mhm.
that calendar. The library would be closed
Right,
New Year's Day, and then it's observed on Monday.
right,
So,
yeah,
and you run into these things depending on when the holiday falls.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
guess.
yeah.
So-
Yeah, I did notice that too, more, oh, sorry, if I may.
Yeah, that's okay.
I noticed that about New Year's Day, and yeah, that's probably worth just confirming. Honestly, I don't remember what we did the last time we had that
Right.
that situation, but I think with Veterans Day being on a Friday and Saturday, those are two pretty full library days in terms of
Right.
staffing
Right.
and hours.
The Sunday,
The
of course,
Sunday,
is only
it's
3 hours,
hours, and
it's
so yeah,
part-time personnel as well. So,
right, yeah.
uh,
But I just, I don't want to be giving, just giving an extra holiday if that's not appropriate. Yeah.
right. So,
No.
Trustee Ryan?
Generally, if a holiday lands on a Saturday, it's celebrated on the Friday before. If it's a Sunday, it's on the Monday. So I don't know
Right.
if that comes into play or not.
That's the state. That's the
Yeah.
state. That's
But
the
it
way-
could be
Right.
just, it can be just one for the library. I don't see why it would have to be two.
I
As you
think
say,
it
Mary,
has something to do with their agreement. So
Right.
I think it
Right.
is safer to ask the
Just ask.
questions and table it till next month.
It's
Well,
easier- it's
okay.
easier to wait to approve a holiday rather than to take one away later on.
Exactly, yes.
What
Charlotte,
what it is that I believe the staff gets the holiday. So therefore, they get to be home the day before. But it could be a situation where the library is open and
Mhm.
benefited staff get the day as a comp day, which is very similar to what happens with some other holidays.
Right.
So
Okay.
I'm gonna sit down and talk to Molly and
okay,
because thank you for bringing it up because I didn't really know too much about it as
Yeah.
far as this library was concerned. So I'll bring it up with Molly and I'll bring it to you in December.
Yeah.
that
And I
sounds
also
good.
have a question about bringing in December the 21st century report.
Mhm.
I know there was a 21st century fund meeting. I didn't put it on this agenda, and I'm wondering if Mary and Paul and Mary Beth, who isn't here, will want to report on that in December.
I think we can just as
Okay.
part of new business. as we
Yeah,
get-
yeah, we can give a quick update as part of new business and then just have it
Sure.
on the, not a
Okay.
problem,
So do
Okay.
you want to do that, Mary, or I'm happy to do it?
Yep.
Uh,
either, once we get
yeah,
to,
Yeah.
Well,
we're
I think we're there, unless
We're
there's
there.
anything else.
new business.
yeah, yep, so the fund did meet, gosh, now I'm forgetting, I think it was late October, right, Paul? And as secretary, if you don't mind giving that that report, you probably have a bit more of the
So
the details. And
the foundation met. And our primary business was we elected our officers. Mary Macy Phelps will be the president, and Mary Beth Parsons will be the treasurer, and yours truly will continue to be the secretary of clerk. We also talked about the foundation will be issuing its annual appeal I believe in the next week or two, Mary.
within the next couple weeks, yep. Mary Beth was in the process of working with the printer on it. Usually goes out right before or right after Thanksgiving, just depending on their workload. We try to leave, several weeks for the Friends to get their appeal out before we release the funds appeal.
And just got our usual report on the health of the fund. The fund is in good fiscal health. And that's pretty much the update at
Yep.
this point.
Okay,
Could I just ask, please?
yes,
how-
trustee Ryan.
How does the appeal work?
It's
Similar to the,
It's similar to the Friends, yeah. So
so
now we don't send to the entire town. We've identified a list of around 800 names, sort of friends of, if you will. I shouldn't use the word friends because this isn't, basically the trustees and the fund members have over the years kind of compiled a list of people they know in town, people that have donated to the fund in the past. Last year we did add some names from the neighborhoods around the Islington branch, with the branch coming on. We were considering whether to keep those on this year, and we decided to, figuring now that the branch is open, that would be a good opportunity. So it's intended to be a smaller, a smaller appeal. It is a letter. We've tried very hard over the years to really differentiate and have it look different. That the Friends have this nifty QR code this year. We don't have a QR code. And we also, we added an FAQ on the back of ours this year that actually includes a question, how does the fund compare to the Friends? Just taking that information that we had in our strategic plan. So very factual, this is what the fund does, this is what the Friends do, and actually including a link to the Friends giving page as well. So we've tried to, really make it differentiated. It's smaller and, it acknowledges, yep, the fund, if you want to support the Friends, you're welcome to as well. But it's, we do take online donations, and there is a, kind of a reply envelope people can use to send in cheks.
I
And we
think that
also
sounds
do-
like it's going to be very helpful.
And we also do it, obviously the fund likes to receive donations. We have a very healthy fund, but we also do it to make sure that we have a level of public support
Right.
Mhm.
for the nonprofit. And so
Yes.
that's why, unlike the Friends, we don't rely on
Yeah.
that major source of funding.
That's, that's a great point, Paul. A big reason that we do it is that as a 501c3, we do need to demonstrate that we're reaching out to our community and getting that support of the community, that it's not just a tax shelter,
Right.
which, it isn't. And one thing that we did at our meeting as well is hear a presentation from Mary Beth, the treasurer, about a conversation she had with an outside consultant who just kind of looked at how we run as a fund, and was very reassuring that, we're doing all the right things to make sure we're fulfilling the letter and the spirit of how that kind of foundation is meant to work tax wise. And, with doing that kind of an appeal, and how we're getting our money, how much money we get from different sources. So,
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's great. And we'll look forward to seeing that coming to us.
Great.
Okay. Are there any other new business or?
I would just ask one more time to check if is there anybody in the public that wants to.
Oh, that was next on the agenda. I was just checking on any more new business first. Charlotte, anything else you wanted to mention?
No, I
Okay.
think that was it. We covered it.
Okay, all right. So again, as Trustee Fitzgerald was mentioning, do we have any public participation, members of the public who might wish to make a comment or ask a question? You're invited to do so at this time.
Oh, I'm
Don't
sorry.
see.
Do we have anybody?
Trustee Fitzgerald?
I did have one other point of new business.
Go ahead.
Just so as the trustees may be aware, there is a charter commission that's taking place right now in Westwood. It's something that has to be done every 10 years.
Oh,
And they did solicit, they did send a questionnaire out to all the boards and committees, and it probably came to Lizzie. But if there's anybody from the board that wants to relay anything to the charter commission, please let me know.
okay.
Just want to make sure that the board, library board, they have an opportunity to.
Okay.
And if anybody has anything on our particular part of the charter, the library trustees charter, you're welcome to come to the charter commission meeting.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Anyone have any questions about that, or at the time? Okay, we'll keep that in mind. Thank you, Trustee Fitzgerald. Okay, and it doesn't look like we have any public participation right now. So that being said, I would move for a recommendation for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Macy Phelps. Thank you. And Trustee Fitzgerald seconds. And we'll take a vote, and it is, let's see, Trustee Donahue,
Aye.
Trustee Ryan,
Aye.
Trustee Macy Phelps,
Aye.
Trustee Fitzgerald,
Aye.
and the chair says aye. And so that being agreed upon, we will convene next on Monday, December 12th at 7 p.m. And I anticipate that it will be a remote meeting. We thank you. Charlotte, thanks for all of your support and expertise. And a happy Thanksgiving to you all.
Likewise.
And good night.
Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.